So what that also scares us to think about is that it is readily accessible either from illegal shipments to come to us, from people actually transferring on their clothing, their shoes. That's how the 1929 outbreak occurred in California, last one we've had. Or that somebody could get access to the organism, the virus, and do a bioterrorism act for us. And it could be domestic, which would be somebody that is an American citizen that just was disgruntled. If people will shoot each other over being disgruntled employees, don't think that they wouldn't take a little trip to one of these countries, pick up some virus and bring it back and plant it. It's very easy to do. The thing that scares me most is we might not ever catch them. Okay? So the virus is readily available everywhere, but you would wonder, well, why in the world don't we have it if it's everywhere? Oceans and biosecurity measures are it. Okay? If it comes to our mainland, we'll have to practice more biosecurity, but that's the reason. Okay. Wanted to show you this slide. It's a little hard. You'll have to look at it kind of closely. But folks, it's outbreaking in a lot more places than you hear of or maybe that you know. In the UK outbreak in 2001, we heard about that ad nauseum. I mean, we saw pictures of it on our news day and night. What you didn't hear was look at all the other outbreaks occurring in the same year. What I'm going to use this slide to help emphasize to you, it will be big on your radar screen. It won't be on your neighbors maybe. If your neighbor's not into industry, animal production, food production, then they may not even know about it. May not be concerned about it when they really should be, because it affects our food safety. And let's face it, milk is an incredibly important foodstuff for our country, for our culture, and really across the world. We cannot lose its value to us as a food commodity. So I did want to let you know, though, that just as it happened to us and we didn't know about these, same thing will happen in the U.S. if we have an outbreak. Okay. If the U.S. has one case, let's go through kind of what would happen. First thing would happen is that because we don't want to spread it ourselves, we'll put stop movements in, and we are the state and federal officials. Okay? We're going to have those stop movements in place until it becomes safe to move again. We're going to talk more about how that process is decided, but for you, the important thing is you're not moving milk, you can't move dairy calves, you can't move dairy cattle, you can't go to slaughter. Slaughter markets are shut down, and livestock markets where you market cattle, they're shut down. Everything is shut down. Interstate, international exports will cease. In one of our earlier meetings, we had a gentleman remind us that to the dairy industry, exports has helped supported price structures, so that'll just drop out. It becomes incredible when you've lost your ability to move milk across state lines. Stamping out would be in play for all the animals that are positive, infected. There is no cure. Their vaccine will not help an infected animal. That animal will stay infected. The vaccine will not wipe out the infection. And folks, these animals are producing virus. If they're exposed, they're about to be producing virus. There is no immunity to this virus. So we would actually have to euthanize the animals that are positive and exposed. And then there is the potential to where if this thing blew up and got huge, there are other measures could be brought. All right? And we'll talk a little bit about that. All right? So now, stop movements. How in the world can dairymen last a stop movement if they're negative for months? Well, the obvious answer is you can't. So we have to have business continuity in play. Here's the steps for a positive farm, so we can go ahead and get that settled in your minds as to what's happening on a positive farm and move on to what will be happening on a negative farm, because the negative farms are the ones that stand the chance of moving milk. Positive farms won't unless it's to be destroyed. Okay, that milk is going somewhere else to be destroyed because they can't do it on the farm. Here we go. Positive farm or exposed farm, investigation, quarantine, sampling, all the way down through each of these. Appraisal and indemnity, which is the payment for animals that are condemned and have to be euthanized. Disposal of carcasses, decon of the premise and equipment, and eventually release to quarantine. And you'll say, well, that doesn't sound so hard. How long will that take? Well, I told you the virus can last. This may take up to months. And if we don't practice biosecurity and we have farms breaking over time, one breaks this week, then another one breaks next week, then another one breaks the next week, that's 3 weeks of infected farms. We are nowhere close to moving milk in that area. So we have to be able to contain this virus and really shut it down. This is a little schematic that actually was done for the War College through the Department of Agriculture in North Carolina when we, right after 9/11, and we really wanted to see what biosecurity would mean with regard to bioterrorism. This is a simulated bioterrorism act. You see that it starts, it goes to a place, it spreads, it spreads, it spreads, and this is complicated if people are not reporting an outbreak. But a lot of this spread, folks, occurs because animals can shed virus actually even before they show lesions. So in this model, it becomes important for us to see two things. One, movements can spread disease. We know that. So what officials do is stop them. Folks, every one of those areas also represents not only the way animals move, but the fact that a dollar changed hands. It's commerce. So when you talk about stopping movements and you start talking about stopping it for months, you've just talked about stopping commerce for months. And I don't know that our nation can really handle that very well. So we have to do these movements, but do them in a way that are safe and secure, and that's the challenge. Let's move into that. Here's a map. It may be kind of cluttered to you. It's got a black background, so it really pops these zones out. These are like 2, 6, 15 miles out. You can see that we've got Onslow County, Jones County. Here's the county lines. Hard to see. Why is it so hard to Sampson County? Why is it so hard to see? Well, it's because it's got a lot of dots on there. Folks, those dots are swine farms and poultry farms. The red ones are the swine farms. The blue ones are the poultry farms. That's a lot of concentrated livestock production. I told you this was a highly contagious virus. If we do not practice extreme biosecurity in those areas, swine industry is going to get eaten alive. And guess what will go down with it? Told you poultry industry in North Carolina might not survive so well. Look at how integrated the poultry industry is. State veterinarians from other states will tell you they will not take poultry across state lines if our swine industry is involved in an outbreak. And that's because they're scared it would be a fomite or something that could act as a carrier for the virus. Okay? But keep this map in mind, folks. I know you guys are going, there's no dairies down there, there's no dairies down there. The disease is so contagious, what's happening in Sampson and Duplin County, if they're infected, will affect the way that you can move milk, especially out of state. And you say, how? Well, there it is. There's raging down here, we're dealing with it, we're trying to contain it. If we cannot prove that the dairy industry, mostly located in the western part of the state, has remained negative, has good biosecurity in place, and we can test that, then it's going to be very difficult to move milk. And as long as these infections are popping here, folks, it's going to be able to move milk, hard to move milk, even if you do test your dairies out negative. And that's because an outbreak can be so explosive. So I want to let you know what you're up against, but I also want to let you know what we're trying to do to combat that. Okay? So let's take off and go forward. Say, for example, we're threatened by foot and mouth disease. What does it mean for my farm? We've already stated this. I got to repeat it. Don't think if you've got positive or exposed animals, you're going to be moving milk. In fact, your animals will be condemned, most likely. Negative farms, milk will be dumped until movement restrictions are lifted. And now you want to go here. When you hear that, you want to say, okay, let me know when they'll be lifted.